Hi, I'm JJ. Welcome. Today, I'm doing a video for my friend over at Saracen Salute. He did a video for me, calling me out for my blacksmithing, and I asked him, I wanted to thank him in return, and he wanted to learn about Michigan. I asked him what recommendations for books or what topics he might like, but he wanted to learn about Michigan. So unfortunately I don't have a whole lot of book recommendations, but I did do some a list of stuff that I wanted to share with you that's about Michigan, things that most people probably don't realize. And I will just start by saying, so we're a lot bigger than people realize. I went to Detroit today, which is on the other side of the state for me, and so that was just over a 2.5 hour drive. It's probably about 4 hours, 3.5, 4 hours long or wide, but and that's at the shortest part. And then the fun thing about Michigan is that we can actually show you on our hand where we live. So I kind of live over here, and Detroit would be like over here. So that's not including like going up the width would be going up to the thumb. This is just the lower peninsula. We have an upper peninsula as well, and it takes about from where I am, the lower part is probably about 7 hours to get all the way up into the top of the UP. So it's a big state, bigger than people realize. And what's really cool is that we're surrounded by fresh water. And so we're the 5 Great Lakes that are around us, Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, and Superior. We learned it in school by Holmes, so then you learn all the 5 lakes that way. But it's 1/5 of the world's fresh water. And also in Michigan, there's over 10,000 inland lakes. So our coastline with those Great Lakes, we have over 3,000 miles of coastline for beaches and stuff. And so that means that wherever you are in Michigan, you are no more than 6 miles away from either a lake or a river. And so that's really cool for us. And with that, I don't know like the exact conversion to what that would be in kilometers, but yeah, I should have kind of looked that up. But anyway, so in these Great Lakes, since they're so huge, they have their own weather systems, and so we get a lot of what they call lake effect snow. So we get pounded on over here because of the snow, because of all the lakes. But they have their own storms and stuff, and there have been, they think, since the 1600s, as many as 8,000 shipwrecks, sinking ships. One of the most famous one is Sir Edmund Fitzgerald, and there's actually a song about it. I will let you know. It's Gordon Lightfoot is the singer, and it's about the sinking of Sir Edmund Fitzgerald, which is kind of fun. So there's a lot of places that you can go where you can actually try to learn about these shipwrecks and stuff, because it's kind of a big deal here. And they have a Coast Guard that trains out. So we have a Coast Guard festival on Lake Michigan every summer, and in the winter, if it gets enough snow and freezes enough, the waves in the water will actually freeze, and it looks like you're on this alien planet, because they just are all shaped in waves, and you can like walk out there and like walk under waves because they're frozen. And despite the fact that I absolutely hate that cold of weather, it is a really cool experience. We didn't have a whole lot of snow this year. The last few years we get a bunch of snow all at once, but not enough to have the lakes fully freeze over. But I have taken pictures out there before. If I can find any, I'll try to post some, or just maybe wait until next winter and see if I'll have better luck going out there and filming for you guys. Couple more things history-wise. Obviously, we had a huge indigenous population here in Michigan, and a lot of our we have a lot of things that are named after still different Native American names for things, whether it's cities or streets or places, and that we still, like, even though obviously we have a very vast population here, we do still have a vibrant and big Native American population here. So after the French were the first ones to settle in Michigan from Europe, and they came first in the UP, and they started, so a lot of the names up in the Upper Peninsula are French names. And they came down and they were doing fur trading and stuff, and then eventually the British came over once they explored the Hudson, and they developed what we call, there's really cool things called sulaks, and it's a canal system, because Lake Superior is higher than in altitude than some of the other lakes, so the ships couldn't go all the way down, from Canada all the way down to like New York and stuff, and unless they built this canal system that had to basically allow the depth to be even so that these big freighters could come through it. So you can even go there and watch these the sulaks lock into place and have the freighters pass, and they're actually quite wide. They made it wide enough so that 4 of the largest freighters, if they wanted to pass all at the same time, two-way traffic and 2 lanes for each way, they can still fit within this canal. And so that was huge, because Michigan at one time had 80% or 87% of the copper in the United States. We had the first big mineral rush before there was gold found out in California and everyone went there. The UP and surrounding areas had the biggest mineral rush, and so we had iron and copper, and we had so much iron that the Civil War depended on us getting the iron over to the north. And then during World War II, after Pearl Harbor was bombed, they sent so much military and protection to the Sulak area, because they didn't want that to be bombed, because that was also providing the iron for World War II that we would have needed. And so that was a very precious and protected resource for the war effort, and they had to send a whole lot of people here to guard that. Another thing that we have is, because the lakes are all freshwater, there are huge salt mine deposits underneath all the lakes, and the one in Ontario is the largest salt mine in the world, and that's what they get. Like, they go in there and just pull out all this salt, and that's what we because, you know, being from the Midwest and up north more, we need a lot of salts for our roads for the winter time, but also we make a lot of table salt for the country and stuff through our salt deposits that are underneath our lakes, which I think is fascinating and really cool. Another thing that's really cool is not only do we have like so many different immigrants here, one on my side of the state was a lot of there's a huge Dutch community, and so the city is called Holland, and every year they have tulip time, and they have millions of tulips planted, and people come from all around the world to see the tulips. We have a huge original windmill from the Netherlands that they sent us in the 60s. That's there. We have a windmill island that people can go to. There's dancers in the streets, and they're doing the dance with the wooden shoes, which is all a celebration of the Dutch community. And another thing that we do is in the fall time, we have this huge thing called Art Prize, and that's an international art prize as well. And so all these businesses and stuff, they sponsor these artists to have like their work in there. Well, they don't sponsor it, but the art goes into these different businesses. And then there's even, you know, statues and all different kinds of art, like whatever kind that you want to make, all throughout the city, and people come from all around the world just to look at the different art, and the crowds get to vote on what they think is the best, and there's a huge cash prize for the winners each year, so it draws in a lot of artists from all around the world, and therefore a lot of people coming from around the world to witness all this absolutely amazing and stunning art. And I know that most people are aware of more of the Detroit stuff, so back to the other side of the state, everybody knows Motown. So, you know, we're the birthplace of Aretha Franklin and Stevie Wonder and multiple people. But what people might not know is that there was a town, a resort town, Idlewild, that was considered Black Eden, and it started around 1912, 1915, and till the mid-60s, when segregation was still happening in the United States. A lot of blacks from the segregated areas would come and be able to just celebrate and jazz and music and entertainment and just community away from all the Jim Crow and the segregation and the bad stuff that was happening. It was their oasis to come here in Michigan, and that's why the Black Eden, and they had musicians come and play, and like anyone who was anyone came here, and they're starting to try to revitalize it again now, which is really cool, bringing that back and celebrating it every year during the summer. And then you also, most people know, Henry Ford and cars, we're, the motor capital of the world, Motor City. But because Henry Ford, who I do have to preface by saying he was a very bad anti-Semitic person who actually, his words and thoughts were an inspiration to Hitler, of all people, who included him in his Mein Kampf story. So not a good man, but he did start the assembly line to be quicker at assembling these Model Ts. So he is not the inventor of the automobile, which is a misconception, but he made it he revolutionized it by being able to create 10,000 Model Ts a day with his system, which, fun fact, because of my reading of Cattle Kingdom, he got the inspiration for his assembly line based on the slaughterhouse assembly line that they used back out west when they started the food packing industry. So he was actually inspired by food packing in the cattle industry, which is kind of interesting. But since he was able to produce so much, he was able to double the people's wages, so he essentially helped create a new middle class. And that's interesting because that brought in a lot of immigrants there. And so Dearborn, Michigan is the largest population of Arabic people in the United States is in Dearborn, Michigan. And we have, I get to actually talk about a book. So I got this today, which I'm filming right after I filmed my one that I'm going to be posting next week about my travel to the book fair. It was a book fest in Detroit. But this is, I am going to horribly slaughter the word, but Hada Bal Adana. Please help me. But it's Arab American Narratives of Boundary and Belonging. So it's including, it's nonfiction, and it's including like essays or stories from people all over the area, because like I said, we have a high Arab population. So there's Iraqi, Lebanese, Palestinian, Yemeni are the ones that are featured in this book. So this will be interesting just to get the different perspectives from, you know, them moving here and them settling in Michigan and their experiences in Michigan in an Arab community, but amongst different nationalities. And what I actually learned when I was doing some of the research was it's got the largest mosque in the United States as well. Second largest in North America, because there is one larger in Canada. But it's a majority of Shia Muslims, which it was interesting to learn as well, since most of the countries and stuff that we hear about are Sunni Muslim majority. So this is a Shia Muslim majority here in Michigan. And I will be reading this and getting back to you on this, but I actually got to include a book and get a book today for that. And while I'm talking books, I want to, you know, make a couple references to things. So I've referenced this one before, but it's one of my absolute favorite authors, and I think it's, you know, being from Michigan, got a special place in my heart. But this one is Firekeeper's Daughter. And like I said, I'm waiting for her third book to come out later this fall. And this one is, I had talked to you about northern Michigan, about the Upper Peninsula, but this takes place in northern Michigan, just below, because we have a very large bridge in Michigan as well, Mackinac Bridge. I wish that I remembered exactly how long it is, but it's a very long suspension bridge that connects the northern or the UP to the lower peninsula. And so you have to go back, you have to go over the bridge to get up there, because there are two separate peninsulas surrounded by water. And people come from all over just to cross that bridge as well. And it is a sight to see. And another thing that she mentions though is, so she's right below the bridge, and there's an area that is highly populated by indigenous people, Sugar Island. And we have lots of islands as well, just because of all the water. And then it also mentions like St. Ignace and Sault Ste. Marie and different areas that, just being from Michigan, I'm aware of, but I didn't know the impact within an indigenous community and stuff like that. So I do highly recommend this book. It deals with grief. It deals with like, you get to learn about the community. I'm always talking about the way that the women are treated, and this deals a lot with their plight and how they go missing, they get murdered. They're attacked, and I don't know if I can say all the words, but they're raped and stuff. So this deals heavily with topics like that, but they're topics that are very important, especially to their individual communities. So that book I wanted to recommend. And quickly going back, when I was talking about Tulip Time, not a Michigan book, but Alexandre Dumas actually has a book called The Black Tulip, and it's about the political strife in the Netherlands during the 17th century, and it heavily involves tulips to the point of obsession and murder and like all this like political intrigue of this contest of who can create the first best black tulip, since it's not natural to nature. They had, they were trying to create it. And so it's actually a very good book. I went on the Alexandre Dumas run after I read and fell in love with Count of Monte Cristo, so then I had to read a couple of his lesser known things, because like everybody reads The Three Musketeers, which is also great, but I was reading his other stuff as well. Maybe I'll talk about Queen Margot in a different one, since it has no relevance here. But so I get to give you 3 book recommendations, or actually talk about 3 books during this. And then one last thing I wanted to talk about was Tequamanon Falls. Like, everybody hears about Niagara Falls. Tequamanon Falls is one of the larger ones in, I guess they like west of the, or east of the Mississippi, or north of Tennessee or something. I forget, but it's quite fun to see. They're huge. There's a lot of water coming. So just like any waterfall, like just it's obviously smaller than Niagara Falls, but what makes it different than Niagara Falls is the fact that we call it root beer falls, because it gets all the sap and stuff from the cedars, and it makes the the water's amber, so it looks like root beer. And so it's not the white water rushing that when you think of regular waterfalls. So it's just a really cool experience just to see that, if you can check out any videos or anything, because they are big falls. There's a lot of water, but it's just really cool because it's not white water. But anyway, that is some stuff about Michigan that's not as well known as some of the bigger stuff that people think of when they think of Michigan, because most people think of Detroit. Our capital is Lansing, which is more in the center of the state, and then we have those really cool Holland for the Tulip Time, Grand Rapids for Art Prize, and then going up north to the UP is definitely worth it as well, because there's Copper Harbor, there's what they call the Painted Rocks, So when you're going by the water, there's like cliff sides, and they look, because of all the sediment deposits and stuff, the rocks look painted. And then we have obviously the salt mines, but we have a bunch of dunes, sand dunes, just because of the beaches and our locations. So there's really cool ones called Sleeping Bear Dunes. We have lots of forests on top of the rivers and stuff. There's like a forest that you can go through. It's a really cool like drive, and you're like canopied by trees the whole way, and it's just like a very beautiful scenic route because we have 4 seasons here, so the trees change color in the fall before they fall off. So when you do that drive, you know, you're seeing reds and oranges and yellows for the leaves instead of just all the green all the time, which is pretty cool. Anyway, I thank you for having me do this, because I re-fell in love with Michigan, just being able to share it with you and remembering all the things that I love about it. So I hope that you enjoyed something. I hope that you learned something, and I was glad to do this for you.